Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Call of Cthulhu, Path of Perdition. My name is Alex Xander Rubitsky. I will be your keeper of arcane lore for the evening. Please just call me the Keeper. I am joined tonight by my friends from Internet Remix, playing their lovely cast of maddening investigators in the 1920s of America. We have, of course, the wonderful Split Guardian.
Yeah, that's me. I'm here.
There's also an Atwis afoot.
Cheers.
Upgraded Moon, also known as Jordan.
Hello, hello. I have two identities now.
Yes, you do. We have the one and the only brother Dingleberry as Sunil.
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
And last, but certainly not least, we have the one and only Kristen Trzynski as Sybil. Hello and welcome back to our further adventures in the 1920s of America using the Call of Cthulhu 7th edition role-playing system. If you're not familiar with what any of that is, well, it's just like if you took D&D but a lot more horror-based and people usually die by the end. It's a good time. We have good times here at Internet Remix. This is a part of our Camp Streamix event, so if this is your first time tuning in to our channel or one of our videos, first of all, welcome. We're very glad to have you, and we hope we can entertain you for this evening. And second of all, Camp Streamix is our ongoing streaming event where we have 3 teams, this, of course, being Team Annihilation, which I'm in charge of, and you can donate to which teams you prefer, whatever bits, money you want to throw at us. It's all good. There's donation info on our social media. If you don't want to donate during a stream, we have a coffee set up. So you can find all of that information over on our Twitter page. And by the end of the summer, somebody wins the legendary Stream Stick. So thank you all for watching. We appreciate all of your donations, and from the bottom of our hearts, we're very thankful that you have decided to spend your evening with us today. Yay! On that note, we're going to jump back into this now second session of our Call of Cthulhu Path of Perdition campaign. When we last left the 1920s Disaster Gang, as they've been self-titled, 3 previously acquainted individuals, Kit Sullivan, Mason Allen, and Sybil Cordova, through a mutual acquaintance known as Jackson Elias, boarded a train, the California Limited, bound east for Chicago. Their backstory is still a little mysterious, and we might uncover that as we go along, but we were also introduced to 2 other figures who found their way on board this train. There was, of course, James O'Connell, a bounty hunter in pursuit of his quarry, the mafia rum runner known as Vito Castiglione, and a academic researcher named Sunil Pandey. Everyone boarded the train for their own individual reasons, and the California Limited set off along the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe railway system. On the train, they met a number of other interesting individuals, such as the silent film star Mae Marsh, the disfigured, facially prosthetic war veteran Bertram Peck, Lance Corporal Bertram Peck, and a few others who we have not yet fully gotten acquainted with, but we will over time. After the first day on board this train journey across the southwestern United States, in the morning, all were awoken to a commotion. Kit and Mason rushing very quickly off to see the source as people were calling for a doctor. When Kit stepped up into the room that people had crowded around, he saw within, lying down on the floor of the cabin, in a pool of blood, and whose clothes were also soaked with it, the deceased corpse of Vito Castiglione, seemingly murdered in the night by an unknown assailant. And that, my friends, is where we left off. So, right off the bat, let's get those train noises going, shall we? Chugga chugga choo choo. Yeah, there we go.
Excellent.
There we go. So, and also, this music is very pleasant, but let's change the vibe a little, shall we? Something a little bit more investigative and mysterious for the circumstances that have followed. Just give me one moment. There we go. So, before we cut back to the cabin where Kit is currently investigating the body, why don't we first go back to some of the other individuals on board this train that we met last session, starting with James O'Connell. You wake up on the train to a similar commotion, albeit a little later than the rest of our investigators, but you were in the cabin directly behind Vito's. So you kind of hear that there's a stir. You wake up groggy in your berth, in your shared cabin with Sunil. And around the same time, Sunil, you also kind of like stir as the both of you hear this commotion.
Getting the fuck up.
Very hastily.
Let's see what's going on.
Yeah. You get up very hastily. You get out of your bed, go down the hallway, start moving towards the source of the commotion. Sunil, you hear James very hastily get up and leave through the door. What do?
Sunil also gets up and is like, oh, well, something is happening.
Absolutely. Well, you two both run off. You guys hear the yelling for a doctor right as you're kind of running up. And you can see from your end of the train car as you start like seeing this crowd of people that are being shepherded away by the conductor as well as Mason, whom you both met last night. You can see that Kit, the doctor, the war veteran, has made it into the cabin. James, what immediately strikes you first is that they're crowded around and entering Vito's cabin.
Oh, fuck. Well, I gotta get in there and see what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, cool. You walk your way up to the crowd. The conductor, Hector Barnhill, turns to you as he's trying to like corral the most of everybody who's like trying to like, you know, asking for answers like what's going on. Turns to you and says, no, I'm sorry, sir, you can't come over here. There's been an incident. You just gotta wait right here.
Calm down, buddy. What happened?
There was an incident and a passenger has been hurt.
What do you mean hurt? Passenger right next door?
In the room there, yes.
Hold on, I know him. I gotta go in there and see.
Sir, it's a nasty sight. I don't think you wanna.
I know the guy. I gotta.
Why
see.
don't you give me, this can either be a charm or a persuade check against Hector.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just.
Is Mason also still kind of standing outside that door, just kind of waiting for Kit?
Yeah.
Okay. Mason, being a little familiar with James already, is kind of vouching for him and calming Hector down. It's like I've been talking to this guy for the last day. He's cool. He can pass.
He looks at you. So go ahead and give me your fast talk roll if you'd be so kind. Not you, Mason. Not you, Mason.
Oh.
James.
Me?
Yes, James.
Okay, good.
Yes.
You said charm or persuade a second ago. I was like,
no, charm. I meant charm or fast talk, but this definitely falls more within the purview of fast talk. Even though you're not lying, you're just trying to like, you know, like, hey, buddy, I know I'm unfortunate. Would you like to spend luck points to make that a success? You'd have to spend 25. Luck points, aside from being utilized for luck checks, you can spend luck points to reduce a roll to make it to make a failure into a success. Luck points are expended. However, at the end of our session, you can roll to get luck points back. Not nearly as many as you lost in the first place, but you can definitely get some back.
No, I'm not gonna spend 25 on that.
Okay. It would seem that the rolls did not pop up into the overlay. Which is
Did it not?
confusing. Hold on one moment. I can fix that. It might be. I think I might know the cause. Hold on. Allow me.
With Mason vouching for him, would it be possible that James could roll with a bonus?
No. No, that's not
Okay.
how assistance works. Yeah. Give me one second. Let me figure out why the. Oh, I think I know what it is. Hold on. The window is cropped, so it cuts out like the browser and like the chat box. Only gives me the rolls. I think it's just cropped to the point of where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. Hold on. Let me just. I can very easily fix that. Oh. Hold on.
Never mind, he says.
Hold on, he says. Ah, that would probably explain why, for some reason, we have the old overlay up in here, which was not transparent. Interesting. We'll fix that momentarily as I'm narrating the results of these rolls, but I'll just let you guys know right now that Mason rolled a failure. I'm currently working on fixing this. So did you want to spend luck points to make that success, sir?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay, cool. Well then, Hector Barnell looks at you, James, notes what you just said, Mason, and Hector says, be that as it may, while you may be acquainted, you might be able to vouch for him, you have to understand my job's my job, and instant as it could, I have to keep people away from the scene except for immediate folks who might be able to assist. Do you have any qualifications that would be useful into maybe helping what just transpired?
I know some first aid.
Sorry, I don't think first aid's gonna be much use here, but... Sorry. If you could wait, just... I'm waiting to hear...
Hold on. You said the guy was hurt, right?
I mean
What do
to
you
say...
mean first aid?
I mean to say, sir, that... unfortunately, a passenger has been killed.
Okay.
Shit, good morning indeed. And Mason just kind of applies some chapstick. He's like, whew, damn. That's why he wouldn't let me inside.
Excellent.
Okay. Sorry, I never got your name.
Mason.
Thanks for helping out.
All
Sure, I
right,
saw
chat,
were
you
playing
should
with
be
cards
able to
with
see the
him
rolls now,
today.
so you're all good.
As you were saying.
What was I saying? Oh, yes. Mason is just like, sure, I saw you playing cards with him last night.
All right.
How
James,
close were you to him?
Nice to meet you.
Nice
I
to meet
wasn't
you, James.
very close at all. Met him yesterday. Just had to check in.
Had to check in. Yeah, I respect that. Well, if it goes for anything, he seemed a little bit of a disrespectful asshole. No offense.
Trust me, none taken.
While this is going down, let's go to the one member of our party who has not attended the scene of the crime yet, Sybil. I think for a moment, because you had the private compartment room that Jackson bought for you. So you are sleeping in the privacy of your own little room. It's very nice. You're actually the farthest removed from everybody else. The commotion doesn't actually reach you. However, you are awoken by a hastily, knock at your door. Miss Cordova. You hear Jackson on the other side of the door. Miss Cordova, are you awake in there?
Yeah, sure. What is it?
Uh,
Yeah,
is it all right if I come in, Miss Cordova?
sure, come on in.
The
Sybil,
door.
throws the door open,
Standing there, you see that Jackson looks at you and just quickly puts a hand up in front of his eye, just going, sorry, Miss.
Don't even worry about it. What's up?
No, it's all right. I wanted to come check in on you. Apparently there was some sort of accident on the train. Someone got hurt or killed.
Wait. Sybil immediately tells it. You mean to tell me? Did somebody die on this train?
It would seem that there's a commotion indicating that such has transpired, yes.
Sybil immediately slams the door. Hang on, I'm getting changed!
Sorry, like, Jackson, like, stands awkwardly outside it as clothes get thrown around the room, as you very hastily throw on your attire.
Then immediately door slams open against Sybil's, like, adjusting her head. Well, come on, that body's not gonna wait for us.
He, like, kind of, like, jumps out of the way, and as you're, like, walking down the hallway, he just goes, this is like something right out of one of those murder mystery novels, isn't it?
Oh, I was just thinking that.
Vander can't recall if Agatha Christie was publishing in 1920.
I actually looked this up. Her first book had just come out, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, which absolutely Sybil has read.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, as you're like walking down the train corridor, he goes, Jackson says, reminds me of that new novel that's been running around lately. Have you read that, what's it, Agatha Christie something?
Yes, the Mysterious Affair at Styles. Yeah, I just read it. It's so good.
I've been meaning to pick that up. I'll take your recommendation. But you guys move very kind of like quickly down the hallway. Yeah, you guys show up at the scene as well with this commotion as you can see James and Mason across talking to the conductor. And you see this whole scene going on. But as well as Daniil, you're standing by as well. And then let's snap over back to the inside of the cabin where we left Dr. Kit Sullivan. So, Kit, to describe the scene of the crime in a little bit more detail from when we last left off. This is Vito's room, his drawing compartment. Drawing compartments are meant to fit 3 people, and however they can be bought out by 1 or 2 people to be like more of like a spacious chamber. Although it seems like Vito's the only resident here. There is the berth that he would have pulled out to sleep in, as well as a couch and a chair in here, a small little side table desk next to one of the next to the chair, and Vito is lying on the floor of his cabin on his back, his eyes half open, skin very pale, and he is lying in a pool of already stagnant, slowly drying, still kind of sticky blood. The front of his shirt is almost black with blood and is beginning to harden. Your initial assessment was that he's most likely been dead for the last few hours. And the visible wound that you can immediately see is that there is some sort of wound in his abdomen. Which I'd say you of all people could immediately recognize a bullet wound when you see one. That seems to be in kind of like just underneath his floating ribs above his stomach. And already by the amount of blood present in the room, you can tell that it was a shot that definitely cut through some very vital things on its way.
Right. I did grab my bag with my things before I came down here.
Mm-hmm.
First thing I want to do is basically unbutton his shirt and do some more assessment of the damage.
Yeah, why don't you give me a medicine check?
Sorry, there are a lot of skills on this sheet.
There are.
And so I feel like this should be a part of the Call of Cthulhu drinking game. Take a shot when one of us comments that there's so many skills on this sheet.
You see,
Hey!
the only person who needs to remember the skills is me, the keeper, because all you have to do is be like, I want to do this thing. And I'm like, okay, cool, roll this check.
And we're just like,
Exactly. So there's no like, can I make a perception check? It's all like, I'd like to search the room more carefully, please. We play civilized games here. Art success, excellent work. So yes, the wound in his abdomen is most definitely the entrance wound of a bullet. That he was shot from that direction. You can actually see the like a little bit of the flash burns around the wound. That means he was shot up close. Additionally, in terms of timeline, as you luckily the window of his cabin is up. There's no it was not open, even though it's gotten a little hotter. Luckily, Pullman cabins have been putting air conditioning into their newer models. So luckily, there's no outside influence of temperature from the desert outside affecting the crime scene and the rate of decomposition. He has been dead. It's currently around maybe 8:30 in the morning. He's probably been dead for the better part of maybe around 3 to 4 hours. Additionally, with a hard success, you flip Vito over. First of all, by the way, you see no other other wounds on his body. The only thing you do spot is a couple of bruises on his knuckles. Like he may have hit something, like he may have punched someone really hard. And you flip him over, and you can see that there is a smaller hole on his back and a ripping through his shirt. The bullet went clean through. May have done some serious damage, but it's definitely went through.
I want to try and find the bullet. I guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna search the back wall of the cabin.
Yeah. Now that you're aware of the fact that the bullet left, it's a pretty easy task. As you look around, there is a very obvious hole in the outside-facing wall. You don't see any light coming through it, so you imagine that the bullet would probably be lodged in there.
I would say I probably have the tools, forceps, or something else to try and dig it out. So
absolutely. Yeah, you wedge your forceps into the small little splintery hole of the cabin wall, and with some minor force, you manage to pull the bullet out from the wall. Small, a little slender.
Would I be able to tell the caliber of it?
765 Parabellum. Which, is the bullet of choice for German-made Luger weapons. So pistols use, Luger pistols use 765 Parabellum rounds.
Nasty things. Are there any other signs of a struggle in the cabin?
Why don't you give me a spot hidden check for that?
Sure.
Do you want to spend luck points for that?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, cool. You look around. You don't see any other signs of a struggle. There's a lot of blood on the floor. If there were maybe visual signs of a struggle, like foot scrapings or any markings on the ground, it looks like they're definitely obscured underneath the blood. The only other visible thing in this room there is a slightly like a bloody handprint against one wall near the window that's smeared a bit. It's pretty obvious, but unfortunately you don't see any other visual signs of a struggle.
Sorry, to clarify, that would be the window on the outer wall, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a window in the door of the cabin that's sort of facing out into the corridor? Or is it a solid closed, a solid door, so to speak?
Oh, sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm so sorry.
Is there a door? Pardon. Is there a window in the door that leads out into the corridor that has shutters, or is it a solid door?
Oh, it's a solid door.
No peephole or anything?
No peephole, no.
Okay. I presume that I closed it behind me, just
to keep. Sure. Yeah, totally.
While I'm here, is there anything you mentioned there was a desk.
Yeah, it's
some
like a small
sort
end
of-
table next to a chair. There is a small drinking glass that's sitting on it. And it's also sitting on top of one of the menus from last night from the dining cabin. You see that there's something written in pen on the dining cabin menu. The drink is empty, although a quick whiff yields nothing alcoholic, just something maybe kind of like seltzer or club soda, something around those lines.
I don't want to touch it, but what's written? What is
There
written?
are
on the
3 numbers written on it. And you recognize these 3 numbers as belonging to the cabin numbers that you, Mason, Sybil, and Jackson are staying in.
I'm going to pocket the menu.
Okay.
I'm going to take it with me. I'm
Yeah.
gonna tuck it in actually I'm gonna tuck it into my doctor's bag or something.
Mhm.
But and I'll drop the bullet into the glass just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere.
Mhm.
And I will sort of close up my things. If there's a sheet on his bunk, I'll sort of take it off and I'll drape it over him.
Move it over him. As you do,
Yeah.
you hear like a little knock at the door, being like, doctor, is there anything you can tell me? Is the shaky voice of Hector Barnell, the doctor.
Yes, sir. One moment, please. And once Kit drapes the sheet over the body of Vito Castiglione, he will open the door like enough to like get out and then close it behind him, sort of just to spare the onlookers any sort of grisly sight.
As you step out, Hector turns to the people gathered around here and says, all right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I understand you are concerned. I understand your panic. Please, if you could all relegate yourselves to your cabins or to the club and lounge at the back of the train. I will have more to tell you once I have conferred with the doctor, what was your name, sorry?
Sullivan, Kit Sullivan.
Dr. Sullivan. I will address the situation in more detail. Once again, the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe gives you our utmost apologies for this terrible event, but trust me, it will be handled well. Good day. He goes, a couple people begin to disperse, but then he turns his attention back to you, Kit. All right. Can you tell me, Doc?
Right. Unfortunately, I would say, and Kit like sort of lowers his voice, but it doesn't really lower. It can't really lower much further than it already is. It does seem like there may be evidence of foul play. He's been dead for about 3 to 4 hours. From what I can tell, someone came in, shoved a pistol into his stomach, and took the shot.
Mighty gruesome.
Yeah.
Nice. No indication of who may have been responsible.
Not in particular.
All right. I've never had to deal with an incident like this. Time working on as doctor. All right. Well, thank you, doctor. What do you advise we do with the body? Company policy for these kind of things is that the train doesn't stop, but once we reach our next stop, which will be, I believe we'll reach Albuquerque. He like looks at his pocket watch. We'll reach Albuquerque by 10 till 6 tonight. At which point I'll telegraph the police in Albuquerque ahead of time to show up at the station. The body will be taken away. But what do you advise, Doctor?
Well, Kit sort of like takes a moment to think. It may sound a little gruesome, however, to be the most helpful to the police. Surely there's some kind of a refrigerated compartment or something where things are stored, yes.
Are you suggesting I move Mr. Castiglione into the kitchen cabin?
Well, it would keep him intact. Well, was there AC in his cabin?
Yeah.
No, you're right. Actually, there's an air conditioning unit, wasn't there? In that case, if you don't want
yes,
to.
Yes, sir. Pullman installed new air conditioning units when we re-outfitted the Limited back in 1910. That's correct.
Yes. If you don't want to move him, which frankly, it looks like at sort of the crowd of people. Frankly, I understand why you might want to crank the AC and get it as cold as possible in there to prevent any degradation.
Yes. I'll turn up the airflow into his room. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I've just never dealt with anything like this before. All right. Well, going above, I'm gonna have to give the police something. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Sullivan. I'll address the passengers in the lounge in about 30 minutes. We can go from there.
One last thing for the police only, mind you. I was able to extract the bullet. I was able to locate and extract it. It is in a glass on the table. That may be useful for the authorities.
Makes sense. We should leave it there. Yeah, we should leave it there.
Yeah, I'd say.
All right. Yeah. No, I won't. I'll let the rest of the Rain staff know. Thank you, Dr. Sullivan. I'll get to work. And Hector Barnell walks down the corridor, leaving you, Kit, standing there, seeing Mason, Sunil, James, and Sybil, and Jackson all standing in the hallway, onlooking.
Well.
Good morning, Dr. Sullivan.
Yeah. Morning.
Well, I won't pry into any details, but
I will absolutely pry. What happened?
He's
have to
dead.
Yeah, he's dead. Gunshot wound? Stabbing?
Yeah. Gunshot straight to the abdomen, likely point blank. Who are you again?
James O'Connell. Nice to meet you.
Right. Sorry, Mr. O'Connell. I know your face. I saw you last night.
I
But,
didn't get your name either.
Sullivan. Get Sullivan.
Yeah. Just in case you all know, James met you all the other night, mostly
Nice to meet you,
whilst
James.
drinking. Yes. Are they gonna move the body at all? Are they gonna take it from the
No.
room?
They're going to keep it in there and crank the air conditioning unit, try and keep it as cold as possible. Do you have a vested interest in this person?
Knew him a little bit. But yes, you could say that.
Well, whatever happened, it happened about... Kit pulls out his pocket watch about 3 or 4 hours ago, so that would have been, what, 4:30, 5:30 in the morning. So altogether not that long. And... well... Kit's not going to mention the paper with the cabin numbers, but he will mention the bullet, small arms, very specific, actually. Type of caliber a Luger would shoot, of all things. You don't see many Lugers in the States. It's a Hun weapon. Well, have any of you seen anyone packing some kind of firearm of any sort?
nothing like a Luger. I mean, shit, that's a very particular kind of weapon. I mean, it stands out. you know, you see it.
Yeah.
Haven't spotted any other weapons on the train. Haven't seen anybody carrying it, but I haven't exactly been looking.
Some nasty business all around.
Yeah, we'll try
Well.
to keep an eye out.
The conductor said we have about, what was it? 10 hours or so till we get to Albuquerque, and then they'll call the police and inform them of the incident.
Got it.
So that
Well, I mean,
means
that
we have
information alone.
long to figure out who did the murder.
Are you
mean-
really suggesting that we go try to figure out who did the murder, Miss Cordova?
I mean,
No, please.
But-
Elaborate.
well,
I don't know about you, Sybil, but I am very tired of mysteries back and forth, left and right. You know, we know what kind of weapon it is. They're gonna telegraph the police before we get there. They can check all the
And as
bags.
soon
It's
as
not.
we get as soon as we get there, whoever did this is gonna sneak right off the train. So it had to be someone on this train, right? So if it's gonna get solved, now is the best time before unless the person, hops off the train, which I wouldn't recommend.
We're going a bit too fast for that.
Exactly. So whoever it is on the train. And who better to solve it than people who are on the train, perhaps people who have already solved mysteries, and we've got like a doctor and some handsome and beautiful folks to go asking around. And
Excuse
It-
me.
it-
You solved
Yes?
mysteries. You've experienced something like this before.
around.
It's a little more complicated than that, but
We solved a mystery. There were vampires. Anyway, don't worry about it. Anyway, let's see here.
Jackson just starts chuckling.
Right.
Right,
While
vampires,
Cordova-
okay.
while
they're
Cordova
vampires.
thinks. James, you mentioned you knew this bird, yeah? Do you know anything
knew
about him?
From what I could tell, when I talked to him last night, he was in some shading dealings. I assume Mafia had a bodyguard, little henchman, fucking. Wouldn't be surprised if he had enemies on the train. Mason, like you said earlier, the guy wasn't exactly the best.
he was a disrespectful prick, if you ask me.
this is that jackass from the other day, right?
He was a jackass.
Yeah, the dude who called the
Yeah.
smaller guy a gimp.
Mm.
So that's about all I got. Maybe one of his compatriots had a weapon on them. Maybe they got tired of him.
I mean, if it's that sleazy type business, you know, if they were getting a little shafted and they wanted to do him in before.
Worse
anything
yet,
bad
working
happened.
for a different family.
Or working for a different family, right? But that's. I mean, what did they look like? I didn't really get a good look at them, did you?
I got a good enough look on him, didn't I, Xander?
On the people he was with?
Yes.
Yeah, no. He had the very weaselly looking gentleman with him as well, who he constantly referred to as Artie. And then there was the stronger guy who was like always like farther away from, but notably like watching them. You clocked him as like a kind of like bodyguard or some kind of enforcer. You definitely got a good look at those guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we see them at all in the crowd of people when they were like? Have we seen them this morning, like at all?
You have not.
Well, there was this his little fucking servant henchman guy, this little Weasley motherfucker. I don't know if he would be the type to have a weapon on him, but there was a bigger dude always trailing him. He might. He seemed more of an enforcer type, but and again, I hadn't said a fucking word to him.
Well, I mean, there's two people that we can keep our eyes on, keep our distance from as well.
The Keeper would like to announce, by the way, that since Dr. Sullivan went to the efforts to cover up Vito's body. Anybody who is not war-hardened who enters that cabin will not have to make a sanity roll because his body is covered up. Just letting y'all know that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, lovely.
Yes.
So
Wait, is it okay if we take a look around in there? Possibly for anything else?
he is covered up. Just try not to touch anything. Be discreet. Since I am the kid sort of rolls his eyes. Since I was deemed someone to investigate this by the conductor, I'd say sure, go ahead.
Sybil immediately pats you on the shoulder, and you're doing a very good job.
Right, thanks, Miss Cordova.
Okay. Let's take a
Upcoming.
look.
Yeah. As who all is entering the cabin?
Mason.
Mason, James, gotcha. Mason, James, you two step inside the cabin. For the rest of you who are still in the hallway, you hear the cabin door at the one end of the hallway open up. Like, not cabin door, sorry. The connecting door to the rest of the train open up. And you see kind of like some, like, slightly, like, limping up the hallway. You see Bertram just kind of, like, walking up to you guys. And he goes,
good morning, all of you.
Good morning.
Oh,
Good morning,
sorry. I'm so sorry to bother you, but I heard there was a commotion, and admittedly, I am slow to rise in the morning. Perhaps I could impose upon one of you to inform me as to what seems to have all of these people riled up.
Oh, well, somebody died.
Siblings.
Why?
Don't worry about it. It's fine. We're gonna. I'm sure it's fine. It's just a mystery, and we're gonna sort it out. So you don't need to worry about it.
Was it an accident?
Oh, definitely not.
Oh my, that is a most terrible business. Is there anything I can do to help?
Actually, mister, I am curious. I don't suppose you could tell us what happened where you were last night around, like, I don't know, 4 a.m.?
Oh, well, I didn't exactly keep an exact record of when I was sleeping and when I awoke in the night. You see, Miss Cordova, I suffer from dreadful nightmares. I toss and turn frequently in the night, and I do not keep my watch with me in bed, but I do recall waking up at one point to a loud noise. I thought it was some sort of... I took it for a mechanical noise from the train, and it was followed briefly by the screeching of the wheels. I think perhaps we had hit a bend and were braking. It woke me up, but that is the only thing I can remember. If there was anything that transpired up in this cabin, I find my quarters near the back, so afraid I don't recall any details.
Oh, that's all right. No need to worry. We appreciate the input.
he nods.
Actually, Bertram, if I may ask a favor,
Yes,
if you see anyone packing a Luger, would you let me know?
a Luga. Yes,
Yeah.
I can let you know. Do you think there is a German on board?
I am fairly certain there's either at least a German or someone who has access to German munitions. We'll have to see.
He nods.
Well, I will keep my good eye peeled for you, Dr. Sullivan. So sorry to bother all of you. Let me know if you need any further help in your efforts.
He like kind of like bows his head like a little and like hobbles down the hallway weakly.
Thank you, Bertram.
Thank you so much.
He holds up his good hand and like waves a little bit as he walks away.
Right. Let's enter.
I thought we already did.
You two did.
Wait, they did, but then you two inserted yourself into the role play with Bertram. So now you go in.
I didn't do shit. I didn't do shit. I'm in the room.
You're in the room. You're in the room.
You said all of us saw him, so I was assuming that we were like entering the room as Bertram came through. So it was, I inserted myself.
I won't nitpick, but you are wrong. Moving on. So, excellent. Yeah, so Mason and James, you two enter Vito's cabin.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can immediately see the shape of what was once Vito Castiglione underneath a bedsheet that is not soaking through too much with blood. This is on account of the fact that the blood has been there for some time. So it's more like a faint pink spot in the center of where his abdomen would be that's slowly growing. Then around the edges of the sheet that touches the pool of blood kind of is beginning to soak up a little bit of the dark fluid as well.
And once they enter the room, James just kind of like, with the back of his hand, just like kind of pat Mason on the chest, just like, hey, did the doc say he checked his pockets?
Mason picks his head out. Doc, did you check his pockets by any chance?
No, medical investigation only.
I got it. And James is going to make his way over, and just before like lifting the sheet up, and he's gonna go from the feet up, just so you know.
Mason turns his head. He's like
Before he does it, he just looks over at Mason. He's just like, "You good?"
I know what I can handle and can't handle. Go right ahead. And Mason turns his head, and he's actually gonna kind of like investigate around. Did you say that there were dressers in this room?
No, there's not dressers, but there is Vito's suitcase, which is like up on the shelving rack overhead the sleeping berth. There is a little end table, which is where Kit found the menu, and then there is also a sofa, like a small lounging chair, you know, as well in here.
Right. Can I start peeking at things like the suitcase and like checking under the cushions of the sofa and the chair?
Yeah, remind me, how tall is Mason, by the way?
Mason is 5'8".
5'8". Yeah, you have to like go a little bit on your tippy toes, not like too much to get like reach up to the rack. They are dreadfully high up, unfortunately. But yeah, you pull the suitcase down. It's
What kind of fucking passengers are they expecting on this train? Damn.
It's not too hefty. So you set it down. You want to open it up?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, flick it open.
It's got
Check out
clothes
what's
in
inside.
there, you know, a couple of extra suits, various shirts, pants, undergarments, standard travel affair. And then there's, you know, some other like small knickknacks in there, just like for like there's like a couple of watches, you know, personal keepsakes. Nothing like, no sort of like documentations.
No weapons or anything like
no,
that? No pocket
no,
knives? No guns?
No weapons, no pocket knives. In this case, there is a like a framed photograph that he's got like tucked in there as well. It's an old picture of a slightly younger looking Vito standing with a couple of other people, smoking cigars, grinning like they own the world, and standing outside of an Italian restaurant in New York City.
Do I recognize what restaurant that is?
Probably not. Different part of town from where you usually, you know, fuff around.
Right. Okay, then I'm closing up the suitcase. I'll do the best that I can to put it back up in the spot. And while James is investigating what he's investigating, I'll just check under the cushions of the sofa and the chair.
Great, give me a...
While he was doing like all of that
Yeah.
shit, I was just rummaging through all of his pockets.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you rummage through his pockets. You find Vito's wallet, which was in
Open
his
that bitch
pants. Yeah, he's got individual bills. He's got like $100 tucked away.
He looks over at Mason, who is not looking, and absolutely fucking pockets that money. Before
Shit, I wish I was looking.
Under normal circumstances, I'd ask for some kind of roll, but he is patently not looking, so therefore you're fine.
Not looking. Yeah, 'cause I don't want to look at the body.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mason's gonna check the kind of like around and inside.
Yeah, make a
the
spot hidden
couch
check
and
if you'd be
chair.
so kind.
Excellent.
was there anything else in his pockets, in his coat, anything?
Oh, shit.
Give me 1 second. Let me address Ooh,
Yeah.
rough, buddy.
It's a rough fucking
Yeah,
roll.
unfortunately, Mason, you search around, but you don't see anything else in here at all. Nothing. I can't like cursory glance, just not really seeing anything of interest to you. James, for you, in regards to other things in the wallet, there's nothing else in the wallet. But let me just double check your character sheet very quickly. I just need to refresh myself on a couple of skills. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so no, nothing else in the wallet. There is in his jacket pocket, like, you know, there is a case of some cigarettes, you know. He was smoking them while you guys were playing poker last night. And there were also some cigars in his luggage, which Mason noted. But nothing else on him immediately of interest.
All right, so he's going to just kind of pull the sheet back over him. Just, hey Mason, you smoke?
I'm not particularly interested in it, but do I know if Kid or Sybil smoke?
I smoke.
You know, Kid does not smoke.
Does not and cannot.
Yeah.
The doctor doesn't smoke, but the beautiful young lady outside does. Want to offer her
Gotcha.
one?
I'm gonna offer her the back. I got my own.
Alrighty. Well, hey, I haven't found anything else in here, so I think I'm good to call it.
Yeah. All right.
And then we leave.
So while all of that's going down in the cabin, back outside in the hallway with Jackson, Sybil, Kit, and Sunil, while they're looking around, what's going on with you four?
I'm probably waiting for them to come back out. I don't want them to be caught in there alone by someone.
Okay, gotcha.
Sybil's like craning her head through the door to get a look, but she's like, maybe I can. I want to see. So she's like looking, but isn't like entering.
Sunil is trying to see if he can, like, he's also standing with the group, like, waiting on more information to see if they find anything. And he honestly is debating on whether or not he should, like, go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Kit will actually turn to Sunil at this point,
Yeah.
since Sunil hasn't spoken much. Sorry, can't say I ever got your name.
Oh, Sunil Pandey.
Ah, Mr.
And you.
Pandey. Nice to meet you. You have interest in this fellow?
Not any in particular. I apparently am the only one who has not heard of this man before today.
Probably for the best.
Interesting.
Miss
Sybil like
Miss-
leans in really close. You've never heard of this man before.
Neither did you, Miss Cordova.
I saw him be a jerk. That counts.
Sure.
Well, from what I have gathered, he is a jerk. Much I
Exactly.
know.
Well, he was. He's not anymore. He's dead.
I'd say rest in peace, but apparently
No, he was a jerk. Actually, Mr. Sunil, what are you like doing over here?
Well, do you mean over here as in near the dead body, or
Yes,
do you
that's
mean
the
over
question I'm asking. Yes, like as a kid, aren't you a little young to be sticking around a murder investigation?
Excuse me, aren't you a little young to be sitting around a murder investigation?
I'm 20. You're what? 14?
I'm 24.
Get like choke cough.
You
I
hear
swear to
muffled.
God, you're lying. Oh, you're serious.
You hear muffled from behind the door. You're fucking what? I'm kidding. No. Didn't hear that.
Yes, I'm
Wow.
24 years old.
I wasn't sure because of your hat. I thought you were. Oh my gosh.
No, Miss Cordova, this has been a wonderful introduction. Dead body and being made fun of. That's the greatest thing to ever happen.
I'm sorry. Sybil like pats him on the arm. I'm so sorry. That was very rude of me. My bad.
Yes, it was.
Anyway, but yes, dead body. What's your interest with this little mystery here?
Well, for two things, my cabin mate seemed to just sprint out somewhere. I heard a commotion. I came with it as well. I hear something of a dead body. There's a little bit of interest. As someone who wanted to be a doctor, didn't exactly make it through. I wanted to know if I could help, but it seems as though Dr. Sullivan has already done a number on the room. But if there's anything else I can help with, I'd like to.
Oh, I wish you'd have mentioned. No, any help, certainly in the future, even then, would have been very appreciated. Wanted to be a doctor? Did you just, change of career, or...?
Well, when the war came around, things got kind of mixed up. I, never exactly got my doctorate. I did do some doctoring, so I have experience in the field, but I don't exactly have the paperwork to back it up.
Well, field experience is, I'd say tends to be a bit more useful than papers when it comes down to it.
Oh, one word to say. Still, it would be nice.
Well, a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Panday.
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. Any help is, pretty great, I think.
Yeah,
More
Jackson chimes in and says, well, I don't know. I, for one, find myself pretty interested in investigating a murder all by myself with no help whatsoever.
That doesn't sound like a
well, if you wanted first crack at it, then
Miss
by all...
Cordova, I believe I was stating as what the most common folk would refer to as a joke. It's around this time that Mason and James finish up inside the cabin, open the door, and step outside.
Did you find anything?
Nothing really to note on. I checked the sofas and the chair and suitcase. There was nothing really there but keepsakes and lint.
All I found were these. The little lady.
Oh, thank you. Sybil takes the cigarettes and looks up at James and she's like, ooh, well, thank you.
So would Sybil likely have the largest cabin out of all of us, or
out of all of you, technically yes, because you all have what they're called compartments. All of you are using the standard shared compartment. However, Jackson gave Sybil a single compartment, which kind of acts as more like you can, instead of having two bunks in it, you can keep one bunk folded and make it be kind of more like a small private room.
Now, I don't want to be improper, but I would like to suggest that Miss Cordova, if you would be so kind as to allow us to meet up in your compartment, there's perhaps a few other things we should discuss. And Kit, are there still people sort of...
Most people dispersed after Hector gave his speech about meeting in the lounge for the further information on what was transpiring.
Even so.
Not a problem.
Right. If we're going to investigate.
Let's go.
Question for the DM real quickly.
Yes.
How far was this from Sunil and Jason's room?
So this car is you guys are in the car behind this one. The California Limited has double check. It's either 3 or 4 sleeping cars. I'll confirm that in a minute. Sybil is found in the farthest most one, the one closest towards the front of the train. This is the one behind that. You guys are located in the one behind that, and then Kit and Mason are in the last one before the club lounge car.
Okay, and there are 4.
There are 4. Yeah, there are 4.
Good to know.
So did Sybil just kind of like grab James by the arm and start dragging him?
Yes, absolutely. She was like, I mean, if I have to invite everyone into my room, not a problem. Let's go. Grab.
Okay, I guess I'm going too.
Yes, excellent. And yeah, just to recap over what the layout of the California Limited is. Picture, if you will, a sweeping cinematic shot of it tearing across the Arizona desert. It has the engine up front, obviously, where there's the crew car, which is where they store baggage and the crew sleeps. Then there is the kitchen car, then the dining car. It's a twin unit dining car. So it has the kitchen and then the restaurant separate instead of combined. Then it's the 4 sleeping cars, and the back of the train is the club and lounge car with the observation platform on the back.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. So yeah, you guys find yourselves walking over to Sybil's compartment room, and all stepping inside for 5 people. It's a little crowded. Jackson says, well, if it's all the same to you, I'll just stand out here in the hallway and smoke my pipe. And, like, walks over and, like...
Do your best to look completely unsuspicious.
My dear, I make a living out of being unsuspicious. How do you think I'd be around so many death cults and make books about them?
That's a very good point. Carry on.
Nods. He opens one of the windows, like, lights his pipe and begins to smoke it just casually out in the hallway.
Death cults. Interesting.
I consider myself a folklorist. I've written a few books here and there, but I do have a fascination with cults and how they entice certain people into their fold and their effect on cultural society. Yeah, look at me going off again. No, don't worry about it. We can talk about it later, but yeah, I've
Talk for another time.
had some experience with the more darker aspects of humanity.
Well, thank you. All right.
Mason slides the door closed.
Right. Kit will retrieve his doctor's bag, open it up, and take out the menu and sort of hold it out and, pass it around to a few other people.
Oh, we ordering breakfast?
No. Take a look at the notes. Recognize the numbers.
That's this room.
And that one's mine. And yours.
Yeah, that one's Jackson's.
Shit.
I have no idea why this guy, I don't even know his name, why he would have our rooms penned down on a menu on his side table. But
you don't think it's because of and Mason kind of holds his tongue. He kind of looks at like James and Sunil.
James is giving you like a very interested look. Just go on.
You don't think it's because of what we collected in Peru, is it?
I mean, how would he have known?
Yeah. It's not like he was carrying our luggage.
Right.
No, of course not. I mean, why else would our numbers be here unless they were gonna try to scope us out, maybe sneak in at some point.
Exactly. Take from Peru.
Some souvenirs.
Souvenirs.
Sybil, sorry,
Yes.
Miss Cordova, is your
Sybil's
family
fine.
particularly well known, would you say?
I mean, this side of the country. Oh, I guess I'm not sure, Game Master, how well the Cordova name is known.
I mean, they're an East Coast family.
Yeah, they're exactly.
You guys are in the American Southwest. You imagine probably not nearly. I mean, you don't question that there might be some people this side of the country who are familiar with the Cordovas, but
That's what I figured.
yeah.
Yeah, not really. We're, the Cordova family is more East Coast. The mansion in Maine's burned down and everything. So at this point, really, it's just me. So
Sunil kind of leans over to Jason for a minute. and
James.
just James. Why do I keep
That was a
putting Jason?
combination of James and Mason.
I keep putting James in this.
So if for whatever reason there's ever a
Mason,
ship,
use.
we have their names.
Illusion! Ha!
It's either their ship name is either Jason or Mames, and one of
Hey,
those is
partner.
more thematically appropriate for this campaign.
Listen, it, for some reason my brain keeps going Jason and James, Mason, and Jackson. Like,
Yeah,
it
I was
keeps
thinking-
putting-
I should just
All of us
put,
combined.
I should put all three of their character portraits, because there's also Art of Jackson, which I've shown, bro, into one of those "what would your baby look like" generators of like mixing the three
If we
together.
combine James, Mason, and Jackson, is it Jasonson?
Stop.
Or is it Jakeson?
Makes
You're gonna make me forget what I was gonna do.
Let
Anyway,
this
yes.
Good. Sunil like leans over to James because for some reason he just believes they have a comradeship now, and he just kind of
Yeah,
He just-
he watched my bags once.
he just kind of goes like, okay, well now they're talking about mansions and having them burned down, and we're investigating a murder, and
You heard the part about cults, right?
I heard the part about cults. Yes, like they're whispering
I'm pretty
this
sure the
like
little,
can
I'm
we?
pretty sure the little lady said something
you
about
can
vampires
under-
earlier.
Yeah, you can. Everyone can hear this. This is like a 4 foot by
He's
6
still
foot
trying
cabin.
to.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't matter. He's still trying to.
James entertaining it.
Let
Mason
this
James
whole-
is entertaining
back in
it.
the seat is just applying lap chick and he's doing his best to just maintain eye contact with Sunil like the entire time, just hearing him just talk all this.
Sybil's just watching.
James is like looking between everyone as he's saying it, as like, yeah, no, you guys aren't telling us anything.
You know, when you put it that way, it does sound very suspicious, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah.
Right. My
I'm
basic
not-
thought was that, I mean, if there would be any motive, Miss Cordova, you being from a well-known family, traveling
Yeah.
technically unchaperoned, you would be an easy person to.
Well, consider I actually one thing that I saw in his suitcase, he had a little frame and he was standing there with a bunch of other people in by some restaurant from New York.
Oh.
I don't really know what it particularly was, but it was definitely New York for sure. It was
Well,
an older
maybe.
photo. He was definitely younger in it, but consider that he might have known who the Cordova family is by chance.
Perhaps.
Possibly caught wind that you were flying back in. Well, not flying, but
Training.
again, that shit didn't exist just yet. That's
Does your family
that's
have any
21st century
connection
me
with...
talking.
Yeah. Does your family have any connection with the mafia?
Not as far as I know. But who knows? I mean, if there is, I'd love to know myself. But as far as I know, no.
Right.
I would take this, menu here as a sign that maybe you all should keep your doors locked at night.
My
Hmm.
thoughts exactly.
Yeah, here's the thought. Even if I was a target, would you three just be a target for being around me? That doesn't.
I mean, our numbers were also on that list. It could be
Yeah.
a multitude of reasons, but if you're a target, they might be coming after us as well because we were with you.
Hmm.
So there was another thing I wanted to mention privately. The caliber of the bullet, very specific. 765 Parabellum Luger. It's a German pistol. The other day, yesterday, I saw a man in the lounge car who had a briefcase with a placard on it that happened to have the name of the most eminent munitions manufacturer in Germany. And I would be very, very familiar with that name.
Did you get a good look at the guy?
Decent enough.
While Kid is talking, James is just like, as they're saying more and more stuff about, Germans and ammunitions and all that kind of stuff. James tried to not notice at first out of respect, but he can't help but kind of stare. Xander would recognize the infliction, wouldn't he?
On Kit's face?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've definitely seen your fair share of such wounds before. Although, of course, you know, I think it's reasonable to say, Atwis, and feel free to counteract me on this, that soldiers can recognize a fellow soldier.
Oh, I'd say for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say that you're clocking what's going on.
Okay. Just wanted to double check that.
Okay, so is it obvious enough that Kit would notice you staring, James?
He's got a bit of an intensity to him. Yes, it is.
Kit's eyes sort of flick up. You want to take a picture, it'll last longer.
No. Apologies. Just looking. Sorry. Remembering. More like.
Kit's like eyebrow raises. Oh, I see. It's fine then.
So we have two people that we know of to look out for. A third one, Kit, what did this fellow look like?
Older sort of gentleman. I didn't get too much of a description past that. Would it be reasonable to say that Kit would recognize him and be able to give
it was pretty obvious. I'll recap. Which was, it had like balding on top, graying going on white hair, like along the sides of the head, thick spectacles, prominent like nose and jawline, and just kind of had this visible air of just like discomfort.
Yeah, you'll recognize him definitely. And Kit will sort of recap the description just to save time. Now, I don't want to make assumptions. There are plenty of people who've taken back trophies from the war, so don't go targeting people before we know. It's just something I thought that we should all be aware of if we are really truly serious about
the last thing that we need is a witch hunt on the train.
Right.
But still, it's potentially a lead.
Are you all serious about this?
Oh yes, I'm very serious.
Knowing that we are now targets, I'd much rather like to know who to keep my eye on than just wait for the police to come around. So.
You guys get a little knock on your cabin door at this moment. Jackson says, kind of opens the door, peeks in, and says, "Sorry to bother you. I just got word from some train staff passing the hallway that the conductor is getting ready to address the passengers back in the club lounge. I'm going to go ahead and head down, but just letting y'all know in case you just want to make your way down there yourselves."
We should go, because I feel like it would be a little suspicious if we didn't. Also, I just have to hear what's going to happen.
Well, I'm going to head down. Yeah, I'm going to head down now if you guys want to finish up here. And Jackson starts walking down the
we'll
hallway.
follow you right out. Okay, so I think I kind of want to play this on the safe side. Having cabin numbers on that list is making me very nervous and looks towards Kit and Sybil for obvious reasons. So I just think until we get off the train, we should stick together, at least groups of 2, groups of 3 preferably. Sunil, James, I'm sorry that you guys are kind of getting roped into a whole investigation thing here, but would you guys mind sticking around with us while we handle this and help us as well?
I got nothing better to do until I get to Albuquerque. And I can't exactly let any more people get hurt.
For sure. Sunil?
Something certainly unsafe is going on here, and I'm not going to feel comfortable till we figure it out. So, I'll stay
That's
with you.
the spirit.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
Fucking James pats him on the back. Just
Oh.
Great.
All right. So yeah, let's not miss that little meeting thing. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys find your way back to the bar, the club lounge car at the back of the train, where all of, most of, the California Limited has like probably like around a maximum occupancy of around like 60 to 80 passengers somewhere in there. So there's like a good like, and it's not like the train's not at full occupancy. So like there's like a good like 45 people crammed into this car, all kind of like clustered around the ground. You see a couple familiar faces. You see Sal Suarez over by the bar smoking. Mae Marsh sitting down on one of the many lounge chairs, like watching on a little curiously. The awkward man Bill Sybil that you recall from last night. Bertram's here. You see that Artie, James, the guy with him, is also here, but noticeably not the bigger guy. Kit, the old German gentleman with the German briefcase, I should say, is here. And a few other, passengers as well that you've kind of like seen around and had some smaller interactions with. But Hector Barnhill stands at the head of everybody, and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, once again, allow me to express my utmost apologies on behalf of the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway, as a matter of making up for this tragic event on board one of our company's most prized lines. The company is allowing everybody on board to receive free meals for the rest of our journey until we reach Chicago. Hopefully that will be sufficient. And I rest assured, the police in Albuquerque have been telegrammed ahead of time, and they will be waiting for us on the platform. We will be having a slight delay once we reach the station, to allow them to handle matters and remove the unfortunate victim of this incident. The police will also briefly be inquiring with the company for any developments, and I will offer them as I see fit. If anybody has any questions, please do not be afraid to ask. Once again, utmost apologies. You hear like a voice, like from the back of the room go, "So who killed him?" You see that Hector gulps audibly and says, I'm afraid that I cannot comment currently on those matters. It is being looked into, and once the police get involved, we will, rest assured, it will be handled effectively, and you will all be adequately compensated with meals to make up for this event. You hear like a woman in the back go, "I heard someone rustling in the cabin over. Is there some sort of trouble on board? Is there like a killer on the train?" And Hector goes, "No." And they're like, this starts just like a stir of crowd. Like Hector like raises his hand and goes, "No, people, please, everyone calm down. We will be reaching Albuquerque within the next 9 hours. And we will be watching vigilantly, but I would personally request if everybody could either stay in their own cabins with the doors locked, if that makes you feel more comfortable, or in one of the public areas, such as the dining car or the lounge here. You may, but please, there's no need to get in a huff over any of this. I've consulted with the doctor, Dr. Sullivan over here, regarding the incident, and I will defer to his judgment for the matters of the event as they come up. So, thank you. Thank you, everyone." And he, like, nods and sheepishly turns away.
Character thing.
Yeah.
Is he just really nervous, or is he coming off as like a little suspicious?
Oh, good question, Mason. Why don't you give me a psychology roll?
Shit. Fuck.
Can I also?
Sure. If anyone wants to insight him.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
Oh, my 2 rolls today, and they're both above 90.
Oh, that's a critical failure on your part. So that only means one thing: the worst possible outcome. Mason, Hector killed Vito Castiglione.
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it.
Sybil,
God.
on the other hand, how do I phrase this? You've had plenty of dealings with men, and you can certainly tell when a man is hiding something versus when he's just very nervous. This man is definitely just very nervous.
Just look. So was like, he's doing his best.
Is that the end of the announcement though?
Yeah, Hector leaves the car.
James is gonna break off from the group and he's gonna make his way over to Artie. And he's gonna approach. He's gonna,
Sitting
like,
in a
just-
lounge chair, holding like a glass of some kind of drink, and just like this guy's like briefcase tucked down next to his side. He looks up at you and goes, "Ah, you're that one from poker game, yeah. Sorry, is there something I
Yeah.
can help you with, sir?"
Wanted to say sorry about your friend. And he takes out his pack of smokes and he offers one to him. Care?
He takes a smoke. Thanks, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's terrible. I don't know. I don't know what to make about any of this. We weren't close. I was an accountant, his business partner,
Yeah.
so
Still,
it's
he kind of treated you like shit.
well, Mr. Castiglione had his way to approach his business relations. He paid me well enough. That's all I could make for it. Still, it's just a terrible shock when something like this happens.
Damn shame.
Damn shame.
What about your larger friend, the one who was always trailing y'all?
Kind of like looks up at you. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're referring to.
So I do admit I might have. Vito called me out on it. I might have been staring a little bit, just because after that first confrontation, you always gotta make sure you know who's who, right? But I always saw a bigger dude, a bigger guy, always kind of following y'all. I figured he was a bodyguard of some kind.
He like sighs and goes, yeah, his, Vito hired him to, just work with trouble. He didn't want anybody to, directly associate them to, obviously didn't want to make a scene out of hired muscle. Vito just liked the extra protection, I guess, when traveling. No, you're right. I guess it doesn't matter now if I spill the beans about that. Vito's not exactly keeping on payroll. Bosco, I think his name is. I handle the accountant, so I've been paying him. His name's Bosco.
Name is Bosco. Know where he is?
No, sorry, I haven't seen him all morning.
So, can I run an insight check on that?
Yeah, make a psychology roll.
Yeah. Come on, don't fuck me now.
Extreme
Hey!
success.
Shit.
Extreme, excellent.
That's
No,
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
Artie is definitely telling the truth. He's being very honest. He's a little blindsided and he's a little uncomfortable. Immediately is visible why to you because you consider Vito's mob connection, and now presumably that would make Artie some kind of either mob accountant or a hired mook on the side. But Either way, the whole situation's got him riled up about that. But when he says that he hasn't seen Bosco all morning, he's being honest, not like hiding anything. In fact, when you bring it up, he's seen him, he actually seems kind of, no, I haven't. And he seems to be now like questioning that and worrying about it.
Yeah. James is gonna take a minute. He's gonna
By the way,
sit down with them.
sorry, real quick, just make sure that, to my players, make sure that when you succeed on a check, you click the checkbox next to that skill, just to mark it off as a successful skill. You only have to do
I've
that
not
once.
succeeded yet.
You have not.
Wait,
No.
I also haven't done that. What is that?
So those little
Ugh.
bubbles on
Yeah.
your next to your things, if you go into edit mode, if you click on them, you can fill them in. That just means that you succeeded at that skill and you can make an improvement check to increase it later.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
And if there's anything you missed, don't worry. I'll go through the chat archive and point out which skills were successes and not.
That's wonderful. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so James is gonna kind of like noticing the the clear concern on his face. He kind of like sits down, like giving him a look matching.
Mm.
Just you don't seem very well confident about that.
No. I just mean to say that I just haven't seen Bosco all morning, and I don't know.
Is that? And
I mean-
now Vito is dead.
If you're implying at all that Bosco had something to do with it, Bosco was reliable, and we hired him. Or rather, Vito hired him because of a high recommendation. I sincerely doubt that. No. I don't think that's at all. Maybe he's just sleeping in.
Do you now?
Because you rolled an extreme success, I'll say that when he says sleeping in, he to himself immediately dismisses that as a possibility. Like he doesn't
Now,
believe that idea.
Already, not to pry or anything like that. This is all a crazy situation, and I'm sure you would rather a real drink.
I would if only times weren't what they are.
Yeah, but when this Bosco guy,
Yeah.
did he ever strike you as anything nefarious?
No, never. Maybe a little bit more on the intimidating side, but no, nothing intimidating. Nothing. No, never violent in the way to the employer.
To the employer. Mm-hmm.
Bosco slept in the cabin next to Castiglione.
That's where he slept.
Yeah,
That was his cabin.
yeah. I slept in a different car, but Bosco, his room was next door.
Would I be able to find him any other place?
I don't know, try the dining car. I haven't been there yet. Maybe he's getting some food, maybe having a smoke. Who knows?
All right.
right.
And he takes out from Vito's money. He takes out a tenner, and he slides it over to him, and he goes, "Don't worry, I'm not the law."
Not you. I'm worried about, but thanks. Takes the money from you.
Just keep your doors locked, and if I find any alcohol, I'll be sure to share.
Nods.
And James gets up, and he makes his way back to the group.
Excellent. And as you make your way back to the group,
Did anybody else want to do something while I was
Yeah.
doing all that?
did anyone else want to do something while that was happening?
As far as I remember, no, not really. It was just
Kristen, you're
Just
muted
do a
if you don't
little
know.
I was like, I figured we were gonna take a break.
You were about to take a break. I just want to make sure that if there's anything else anybody wanted to do during that time. Yeah.
Was there anyone who seemed to have left particularly fast, either during or right after the
Ooh.
announcement?
Good question.
That's a very good question. we're gonna keep the trend going. I'm gonna ask Kit to make a psychology roll now.
Sure.
Because it's one thing to move quickly, but another thing to move quickly with purpose. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, unfortunately. I mean, a few people moved quickly out of the room, but, like, you didn't catch anything other than just simple need to be, like, out of the space. No one seemed suspiciously quick to you when Hector finished. And yeah.
And those that are currently still in this room, the ones that haven't really dispersed, do any of them seem like a little shifty? You know, like they seem like they're just trying to keep to themselves to like not draw attention.
Well, that's gonna
to
be
themselves at all.
the next psychology roll.
That's
Psychology.
fucking god
Do you
damn
want to spend five? Do you want to spend 5 luck points? It was 55. That's fit. That's 5
only
short.
5.
Do you want to
No,
spend?
no, I didn't want to do that.
You're good. So, yeah,
Yeah,
ignoring
I'll
that.
spend 5 luck points.
Cool. So mark your luck points down by 5. Makes it a regular success. Excellent.
Anybody shifty?
No one that you can read the facial expressions of seems shifty or is trying to like draw attention away from themselves. The only person in the room who looks uncomfortable is Bertram, as he's just kind of like in a crowded room full of people, just kind of like trying to shuffle off to like not be in anyone's way off to the side.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't have anything on Bertram, so.
Excellent. Well, on that note, we're going to cut to a quick break. We'll be back here in a couple minutes, so don't go anywhere as we continue to figure out who killed Vito Castiglione. Don't go anywhere.
The Veteran by Margaret Postgate Cole. We came upon him sitting in the sun, blinded by war and left, and past the fence wandered young soldiers from the Hand and Flower, asking advice of his experience. And he said this and that, and told them tales, and all the nightmares of each empty head blew into air. Then, hearing us beside, "Poor kids, how do they know what it's like?" he said. And we stood there and watched him as he sat, turning his sockets where they went away, until it came to one of us to ask, "And you're how old?" 19, the 3rd of May.
Hello and welcome back. We are ready to keep resuming, although I need to turn my train music back on. There it is.
Train.
Not train music, train ambience, one might say. But yeah, excellent. Now that we're back, enjoyed a nice little break. We're all ready to resume the investigation on the murder of Vito Castiglione. Yeah, so investigators, I ask you, as you guys are standing here in the club lounge at the back of the California Limited, what do you want to do now?
Have I already reapproached?
What was that, sorry?
Or
We
is it-
approached like our group.
Yeah.
Or is there is in between? Okay.
Yeah. If there's anything else anyone wants to do while you're here, we can. Otherwise, you talk to RD.
Yeah.
Mason's looking around, and then James, after you finish talking to RD, you reconvene with everybody else.
Okay. Hey, so possible lead.
Oh.
So just talked to the Weasley one.
Mhm.
Not that bad a guy. Not just an accountant.
Hmm.
But he doesn't really seem too confident in his larger compatriot.
Hmm.
Any idea where he might be staying in?
He was staying with Vito. However,
Next door to Vito, to clarify.
he was staying next door to Vito. If not there, try the dining hall, he said. I
Mason.
say,
I remember seeing that larger guy in the crowd of people at all.
Did I see the larger guy in the crowd of people?
As the keeper
Not at all.
shakes his head no on camera.
Okay, so I didn't see it whenever they were first coming in the morning. Didn't see it when the guy came in to talk. Man's been gone all morning.
Apparently, the man hasn't come out.
That's very strange.
I'd like to propose that we go check up on him.
How do
Yeah,
you not hear a gunshot that's right next to your room?
precisely.
Yes. Yes.
Hasn't come out. Yeah, fuck it. Let's go check on him.
I think it would probably be good for one or two of us to check out that guy, but since there's a lot of us, it might be good to, split off into groups. There are 6 of us.
Well, I'll
So
definitely
then we
handle
could-
the man.
That makes
I'll
sense.
go with James on that one.
Okay. Sybil looks like. Well, I think I was thinking I would just sort of do a loop around this lounge and see it, just chat people up, see if I can get any information, if anyone's heard anything or encountered anything suspicious last night.
Absolutely.
You'll forgive me if I stay here and keep an eye on you, Miss Cordova.
Oh, fine. Okay. We can chat up a group, I think.
Jackson
Have a group.
Jackson speaks up and says, well, honestly speaking, I don't exactly feel right comfortable sitting tight. Mr. Pandey, would you like to embark on some other sort of task together? Maybe we can figure out some investigation of our own.
I was just about to suggest the same thing, sir.
Well, that sounds great to me.
All right.
So let's say, player question. What time is it now?
By now, it'd be going on around like 9:30 in the morning.
9:30. Okay, so I say we look around for a little bit. 10:30, we meet back here. Possibly get some lunch after that, and we'll see what we find. Yeah.
Sounds great. Let's do some investigating.
Sure.
Right. Stay safe, everybody. Keep an eye out. Keep your eyes peeled, please. Let's all stay okay. All right.
But
Jackson.
you're not getting into any trouble.
Jackson turns to you, Sunil, and says, what do you want to do? Where do you want to start? I have ideas of my own, but I want to hear from you first.
All right. Well, I don't think we're going to get anything else out of the room with the body. And it seems as though the other 2 are going to go check out the big guy. Nothing else in this room.
It sounds like Miss Cordova is going to be asking around folks if they heard anything, were aware of anything.
We did hear about... from Bertram. We did hear that there was a knocking. It didn't sound like the same thing as a gunshot.
Or-
Maybe we can see...
Yeah, I suppose we could look into that, maybe.
Have they moved away yet?
I think they're, like, getting ready to walk away. They're just kind of, like, nodding and talking to each other.
Quick. Sorry. Excuse me.
Kit, hey. All right.
Sorry. Just, there was a bloody handprint on the wall in the room, so it may not have happened right away, if you catch my drift.
Huh.
Well, I consider myself to have a bit of more of the keen eye. Why don't we talk to this Bertram fella, maybe, and then aside from that, what if we go over to Vito's cabin and Mr. Pandey and I can have a look around? Maybe we'll pick up on something that's been missed.
Sounds
Thank
right to
you.
me.
All right, well, Mr. Pandey, which do you want to do first?
I'd actually like to check the room, just because if
Yeah.
too many people are going in and out too soon,
All right, well then, Mr. O'Connell, Mason, we'll follow you over there since we're heading to the same destination.
All right.
If we need
Alright.
your help, we'll give you a holler.
Yeah, and
Let's just get a move.
those 4 set off, leaving Kit, Sybil, you 2 in the room. A moment later, as you're kind of like sitting around, Mr. Suarez steps up to the group and says, steps up to you 2 and says, "It is an awfully terrible thing that has transpired aboard this train. It's particularly harrowing to think that there is some sort of healer amongst us."
Just dreadful.
I think I overheard the conductor saying something about consulting with you, Mr. Sullivan. Is this correct?
I am a doctor, yes, medically trained.
Is there any sort of information you could present on this subject that might alleviate some of the concerns that myself and the other passengers might have?
Kit's not very good. Kit doesn't have the greatest bedside manner.
Yeah.
Well, there's just a really long pause. Well, whatever happened, it had happened deep into the night, and obviously nothing else has happened since. Now that everyone's on guard, I'm sure that we'll make it to Albuquerque just fine, and the conductor, Mr. Excuse me, pardon. The conductor, Hector, he will telegraph ahead. It should be fine. Just stay in your room, lock your doors.
Well, I will certainly see to it myself. I have to admit, before Mr. Barnhill gave his announcement to us all, I was going to approach you two, as well as your friends and Mr. Elias, with the prospect of lunch being on me, but now that lunch is being handled by the company, well, perhaps then maybe once this has abated a bit more, I can join you and your compatriots for a nice bite to eat.
Sounds like a plan.
We can say it's on you. I won't tell if you don't.
He gives you a little wink and a nod, and he goes back over to the bar.
Yes, Miss Cordova.
Oh, well, we'll talk to him later, so I guess it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's not much to do, but just start asking around, right?
Right. Are there any other people that we recognize in here?
You recognize the older man with the DWM suitcase? That nervous guy, Bill, that awkward kind of portly guy that was with Sybil at dinner last night. Mae Marsh is hanging out, but she definitely has the vibes of somebody who just wants to be left alone because of everything that's going on. Those are the only immediately familiar faces present.
So the suitcase guy would be the
German.
The German.
The Hun, yes.
So does he still have the suitcase? Is the real question.
Yes, he does. He is off by himself, towards the back near where the door opens to the observation platform. Just kind of sitting there by himself, suitcase up on his lap, just kind of fingers. Hands folded on top of it, kind of looking ahead. Agent just looks around.
Would that happen to be your mysterious German?
Kit sort of lowers his voice.
She did lower her voice. She's polite enough to at least know to not be too loud about that.
Kit sort of nods curtly. Yes, that is the man I noticed.
Oh, why don't we go strike up the conversation then?
I don't think that I should.
You don't. That's a fair point. Well, I mean, I can. That's fine. But I'm not here's the thing. I'm not exactly in the know about this sort
Germans.
of thing, so I wouldn't really know what to ask is the problem. How about we go together, and I'll just do my best to make sure things don't get too awkward.
I, still don't think that's the best idea.
Well, what do you suggest then?
It may not be the best idea, but I don't have any better ideas, so...
Well, then. And, well, if all we've got is one idea, I guess all we can do is follow the idea, right? Let's go!
Yes, Miss Cordova.
You guys stride over. Cutting over now to as the door to Vito's room opens once more, and Jackson and Sunil are standing in the doorway, glancing in. Jackson, pipe in his mouth, looks around. Well, don't be a stranger, Mr. Panday. You first.
Sunil's already in.
Oh, good. Oh, well, Mr. You all right? Pretty excited to get involved with murder, I see.
Listen, I've spent
I am assuredly, in fact, listening.
a lot of time on the wayside. Maybe I can actually do something for once.
I respect that. Reminds me of myself when I was your age.
It's Sunil is he's combing the room.
Yeah. Now that you're here, looking around intensively for the first time, why don't you give me a spot hidden check?
Okie dokie.
Jackson will also do the same thing.
Whoop. Spot hidden. Skills. Where is it? There's so...
Under S.
I'm not gonna say it.
Take a shot. Anyway, no, all the skills are alphabetized. Oh.
Jesus
Yikes.
Christ.
One of these days, someone is gonna spot hidden.
And that is Jackson.
That is Jackson alive.
Thank goodness for
Thank
Jackson alive.
Taking on the
Jackson
sins.
alive.
Taking on the sins for all of us.
I'm really sitting there like a 96. Are you kidding me?
So,
Like for real.
because 90 again, every time critical failures, these are bad circumstances. It's a terrible thing that that happens. So in this case, Sunil, as you walk inside the room, you slip on the still sticky, drying pool of blood and slam into the floor hard. You take 1 point. You take 1 point of damage. Jackson like rushes over to you. It's like, Mr. Panday, oh heavens above, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm. Jeez, I'm fine. Goodness.
Oh, your shoe's a little besmudged with blood. Let me. He pulls like a handkerchief and like begins to like wipe off like the sole of your shoe with like the blood you just slipped in. And Jackson goes, well, so much for despoiling the crime scene. All right, here, let me help you up. And he gives you a hand and pulls you to your feet. Hey, you dropped your hat. He holds it out to you.
Thank you. Very important.
Yeah. You take a breather outside. Let me take a look around. And Jackson starts combing the room for you, Sunil. Immediately next door, James and Mason, you stand outside the room, immediately adjacent to Vito's, the one that supposedly belongs to Bosco, which the door is closed. You wait. There's no answer.
One more
You
time,
wait.
just give it a little polite.
Wait a bit longer.
Bosco!
Nothing. No response.
Try for the door.
The door is unlocked.
All right.
Yep, you
Fucking
open
get
the
in.
door. You look around. The room is empty. There's nobody in here. Windows closed. This is a compartment room, so it's one of the double bunks, but it seems to be privately belonging to Bosco. You see that his berth is the sheets have not been made. They are kind of like half lying like off the side of the bed, as if somebody very quickly threw the sheets off of them and got out of bed in a hurry. So that's where the sheets are kind of like resting. And then obviously there's like a small little like hand suitcase, a little bigger than a briefcase but smaller than an actual travel case, up in the rack. There's a cigarette in the tableside ashtray, but it's been long since smothered out.
All right. He's gonna go over to the case and he's gonna look over at Mason and he's gonna say, I need you to watch the door, all right?
All right, you got it.
Anybody coming down, let me know.
I'll give you a knock. And Mason just kind of like stands by the door, and he's just fiddling with his dice.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go through this fucking guy's things.
Yeah, you pull the suitcase down and you flip open the latch. At least you attempt to. You find out that the suitcase, the hand case is locked.
Hand case is locked.
Mm.
Damn. Gonna check the. It's a mattress, right? Bed's a mattress.
It's like a very thin, small mattress. Yeah, that's how the
Nothing
bunk.
would be like if something was hidden underneath it, it would probably have a bump. So
You want to feel around?
yes.
Cool. You know, it's like a good maybe like 3-4 inches thick. So it's
Actually,
a thin.
I don't want to feel around. I want to like lift it up. I wanna
Okay,
see
cool.
underneath it and feel it, like both.
There is a knife that's under the bed, and it is covered in blood.
Ah, that doesn't match up. Mason. Found something.
You need him to come in?
If you want to see it, it might be important. Fucking.
Mason looks to his left, to his right. Does he see anybody coming this way?
Hallway's empty. The only sign of people is Sunil standing outside the room and Jackson rifling around in Vito's cabin.
And Mason turns to Sunil. I'm gonna be running in there really quick. If you happen to see anybody coming around, just give a knock. I'll be out real quick too.
Aye, aye.
Okay, thank you. And Mason quickly kind of slithers in to the room.
And James holds up, like holding the bed up with one hand, holding the knife in the other.
Huh. Well, that
Yeah.
doesn't match up.
It most certainly fucking doesn't, now does it?
No, not at all. Mason is gonna... Is there anything with the mattress? Is there like any like little holes or anything with the mattress to like...
Make a spot hidden check.
Like,
As I look for the spot hidden check. Gah!
That's one off. That's one off. Do you want to spend one luck point?
just spend the fucking luck point.
Spend the luck
Yeah,
point.
I'll spend a luck point.
One day we will spot hidden.
You've spent like 6 luck points. My first thing would have been 25.
No, there's no holes in the mattress. However, there is a very faint spot where it looks like there's like a little small blood smear on like the edge of the mattress that looks like if somebody who had a little bit of blood on their hand lifted the mattress and left a small little smear of blood on the mattress from touching it.
So kind of like a bit of like a handprint type of.
It's
thing?
not really
like
that
handprint, but
yeah. It's like if somebody like there's like a smudge of blood from like somebody who had like grabbed and lifted the mattress.
Right. Looks like
So.
somebody. Mason, of course, relays this information just for lack of time. Seems like he hit a knife, unless there's anyone else that is dead on board. I mean, that doesn't line up with a gunshot wound.
On top of this blood that's being found here, cutting back over to the next room over with Jackson, pokes his head out to you, Sunil, and says, "Hi, Miss Bande. I believe I used my only good handkerchief to wipe off the blood from your shoe. Would you mind? Do you have one I could use?"
Sunil produces a handkerchief.
I think I found a couple things. Yeah. He like takes the handkerchief and goes, you kind of hear him. Do you like look to see what he's referring to, or do you wait for him to come back out?
He looks.
Cool. He Jackson reaches underneath the chair, like on the ground, and he pulls out a small expended shell casing that he holds in the handkerchief. And then he walks over and he drops it in the same glass that Kit put the bullet in. He goes, "Found that, but also main reason I need a handkerchief." He goes over to a spot towards one corner of the room, and which is like near the puddle of blood, kind of like uses like he pulls like a small like business card from his wallet and he goes, yeah, I don't need to remember this, and use it to like kind of like makeshift like move some of the blood away from the pile to like clear out like a small little corner. And he seems to pick up 2 things from the ground in the handkerchief and like walks over to you and holds this little spot of blood, but there are 2 teeth that he
How did
holds
I
in
know
the
it was gonna
handkerchief.
be teeth?
I don't suppose Mr. Castiglione was missing any teeth.
Well, I haven't seen the body, but I think we could ask Kit.
I think we should ask Dr. Sullivan. Yeah, that might be a good idea. I'll fold these up and think I should carry these around with me as a keepsake, or should I leave them in the room?
Make a necklace out of it.
Sanity roll.
You know, when I was researching one of my books, you know, some groups in Africa, he like begins to like go off on this like tangent about, actually they make necklaces out of expended teeth. It's really a fascinating thing, not as dark as one might expect. Sorry. Sorry, sometimes I get a little work-minded when I throw of things.
All right.
Oh fuck!
I fucking love Sunil so much.
Pooh fairies.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
These might be important. Well, it might be. They are important. But I'd say I'm worried that we won't be able to come back to this room again. Bring them with you.
All right, he like bundles them up and like tucks them into his coat pocket. You know, of all the things I've carried with me in a coat pocket, teeth are not the weirdest.
Good to know.
Excellent. Cool. And you two vacate the room. Back over your cabin. James and Mason. Jackson pokes his head and says, we're all done next door. Is there anything you need our help with?
I want to investigate the room because like we found the knife, and I found like a little.
Your spot hidden check
little-
generally applied to anything that might have caught your attention that was like detailed. However, you don't notice anything else of interest in this chamber.
Okay.
Buddy. Got a way to open this thing? The hand case. Is it what kind of lock is it? Is it like a padlock or is it like one of them rotary locks?
It's a key. It's actually a key lock. Yeah. Baggage key.
Lock. Is the key around?
You have not found a key. Like, and there are no like personal belongings laid out in here.
Check the pillowcase. Check the pillow. Fuck it. Why not?
Check the pillowcase. There's nothing there but pillow.
Yeah, I think that fell under our spot hidden check. I mean, other than a locked suitcase, can any of you guys pick locks? Because I certainly can't.
Jackson says, like, hold on, let me actually look at Jackson's character sheet real quick.
No experience.
Well, there was something with my uncle a few months, but no, I didn't really pick up on anything at all. I don't know. I can't, like, Jackson like looks down the hallway. Have you tried like holds out his pipe and makes like a crowbarring smack gesture with it? Gives you like a little eyebrow raise.
Not yet. I didn't really want to use the bloody knife for it, but
that seems like evidence. I wouldn't.
all right.
Right. Did you find anything else that's useful in there?
We found oh, go ahead, Sunil.
We found some teeth.
Found some teeth. And Jackson reaches into his coat and pulls out like a little handkerchief and like shows you guys the teeth. So just two teeth. And a little splatter of blood in the handkerchief.
You're holding on to it. Lovely. That's
Cool.
teeth.
As a precaution, of course.
Oh, for sure.
Good souvenir.
Oh,
Vito's
you know
teeth.
what?
Why not?
Well, that's the thing. We're
No,
not
they're
exactly sure.
Vito's teeth.
Yeah, we don't know if they're Vito's. We're gonna ask Dr. Sullivan if he knows any missing teeth.
I'm no good around bodies. So if someone would like to check Castiglione's mouth for missing teeth, possibly.
I could probably give it a look.
We don't mind poking around in a dead man's mouth.
That doesn't really affect me that much anymore.
Yeah, don't look a gift corpse in the mouth.
Hey, Jackson, why don't you try to open up the case? Hey, Jackson, why don't you try to bash open the case while I go look in the dead man's mouth?
So Neil's gonna stand outside the room with James.
Cool.
Mason's eyes wide. Oh, like gift horse.
Yeah, you got it.
That took me a second.
Hey, no, it's a little bit of some dark humor. I know. I just decided.
So anyway,
Let's bust open this fucking briefcase.
Cool. Mason, do you want to attempt to like brute force open the briefcase?
Yeah. What
That
what
would
I use
be
for that?
a flat strength roll against this thing.
Yeah, no, that wasn't
Ooh.
gonna work.
Yeah, you like dunk. You like smack some things against it. Unfortunately, you make no headway. Jackson
Yeah, I got
says,
nothing.
"Have you tried using your legs to lift?"
That's a good idea. Would you mind giving me a hand?
Sure thing. I'm gonna have Jackson roll this attempt.
Thank you. Thank you.
I told Jackson to do it.
Actually,
Look at that. It's almost opposite.
It is. It is almost. I want to spend 2 of my luck points to make that a 45, so it is exactly opposite. Let me show you how we do it in Connecticut. And he like looks around the room, pulls out like this heavy side night reading lamp, and just goes clank. It just smacks it on the edge of the thing, breaks off the lock, and just like the thing like clunk pops open. He goes, "There, detective work." So cutting back over to the next room. So James and
Lifting down
Sunil.
the veil. Well,
Sunil's outside the room.
Yeah, waiting for
Sunil's
Sunil.
outside the room.
Waiting for
He's
Sunil.
not looking in.
Cool. Pulling down the veil. Vito's poor dead face. Just lift up the lip. Just get his fingers in there. Fuck it. Why not?
Yeah, because you
afterwards.
just know that it's only because you have the war experience package that you are not rolling sanity for this. You've definitely climbed over bodies before, so putting your fingers in one's mouth is no change of pace. Yeah, no, you lift up his mouth, you lift up his lip, and begin like look around in his mouth. Vito has all of his teeth. The ones that he doesn't have, he has replaced them. He actually has one like gold tooth actually in the far back reaches of his mouth, but all teeth are accounted for and present.
I'm very tempted, but I'm not gonna do it.
I was about to say, please don't.
No, they're like I'm not that far into the fucking grave robbing. So
Did you find anything? Does he have teeth?
yeah, all of them.
Oh, interesting.
Well, just fucking put the veil back over his dumb, ugly face, and let's get out of here.
Great.
Let's see what they got from the box if they got it open yet.
As you guys head back over to the cabin, we're going to cut to the back of the train with Kit and Sybil.
Woohoo. Oh boy.
Narrate your approach here, if you'd be so kind.
Sybil first gets just some. Does the man at the back have a drink or anything like that?
No, he does
or-
not.
Okay. Sybil just no, it probably doesn't make any sense if you don't. No, it's not bad, I guess. Just no water. Getting him water when he has not asked for it seems dumb. I don't know. Let's just head on over.
Cool. Yeah, so no drink then?
Sybil would though. Sybil gets probably some like seltzer water or
Cool,
something.
some seltzer
Just
water,
gets,
yeah.
like, a regular water. Just gets a regular water. She's like, I mean, just bring him something if he doesn't want it, whatever. Then I've got another water, not a problem. Then
Yeah,
it's
you-
your water.
Yeah, you walk
So?
over to the older man at the back. kind of like walk over to him. He like briefly glances up at you as you like approach him.
Hi. I'm Sybil Cordova. We obviously haven't met. I don't know, thought maybe you might want a water or something.
He just shakes his head
Understandable.
at you. Sorry, I forgot I was not visible on camera for a second. No, he just
Yes,
like
I'm like,
tentatively like shakes his head, but like very I guess like a polite means of saying no, thank you.
"Well, that's fine." Hands the water to Kit. This is your problem now.
Thank you, Miss Cordova.
You're welcome. What's your name?
He like awkwardly clears his throat and like looks down. Otto
Otto?
nods.
That's a nice name. What brings you aboard this train, Otto?
I am going to Chicago.
Chicago? What for? If I can ask, of course.
No, it is no concern. Okay. I am going to Chicago. Count. I have family there that I would like to visit after a long time having.
That's lovely.
Yes.
I I hate to cut to the point, but Mr. Otto will
Mr.
just
Otto Ziegler.
Ziegler. Pleasure. Kid Sullivan, Dr. Kid Sullivan. I'm sure you heard the conductor's little speech. Just wanted to check and to make sure that people are doing all right, seeing as I have been involved in the investigation.
He like slowly like nods a little bit, definitely like avoiding eye contact from you a little bit. Kitten goes, yeah. It's a terrible business that has transpired. I am thankful to not be involved and looking forward to disembarking when I reach Chicago. I do apologize if I do not seem entirely talkative. I admit that this guy truly looks like Werner Herzog. Honestly, in hindsight, this guy truly looks like Werner Herzog. Just goes, I admit that I am nervous to speak with other people. Not many are tolerable of a German. So
It's all right. Miss Cordova and I had a German friend we recently went on an expedition with. Unfortunately, he had to leave sooner than expected, but
He was very nice, though.
he was. And I've spent some time in Berlin myself.
he like nods slowly. Yeah, I've spent some time in Berlin during war. I am from Hamburg. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, is there anything I could else help you with? I assure you that I am, all things considered, doing alright.
Well, that's good to hear. She just asked, I'm just, curious, I see that you've got an engraving on your briefcase there. Is that, I assume it's just yours.
It like shoots her a look, and it's just like a really Sybil look.
just gotta know what's in
He
the briefcase.
like looks his eyes flash onto the ground. He goes, "Yeah, what about my case?"
I was just curious. It's a lovely briefcase. I just.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You'll have to forgive Miss Cordova. She's incredibly curious. Kit sort of like gives her a significant look and like puts a hand on her shoulder. My apologies if we've bothered you.
All right, thank you. It is a he like kind of like looks down at the briefcase. It is a relic from my time during war. Artifact.
Well, best to keep things relics and artifacts. If anyone gives you trouble, Mr. Ziegler, please be sure to let me know, seeing as I have been granted the privilege of doing some kind of investigation.
I greatly appreciate.
And speaking of investigation, you didn't happen to hear any sort of loud noises last night or early this morning, did you?
I was in the same car as dead man, but I am a heavy sleeper. I take medication. I have poor experience in getting to sleep these days, so I take barbiturates. So I am out. But at some point in the middle of the night, I did not note the time, but I awoke and had to use the bathroom. So I walked to the end of the cabin, passing by the gentleman's apartment, and I overheard some conversation inside. I did not hear a lot. Their voices were quiet, but he and another man were discussing something about not knowing there was a cop on board this train. And then I heard the gentleman's voice. The other one I did not hear clearly enough, but the man who fell victim to this terrible tragedy, I do not mean disrespect to him when I say that his voice was distinct. He said something in response to this, that there was nothing to be concerned of. The cop was on his payroll, he said. Something about a Becker, Officer Becker. But that is all I heard. I am not an eavesdropper. I ceased listening and moved onto the bathroom and returned to my compartment, where I slipped back into sleep. I admit even that might be unreliable. The barbiturates make me very groggy, but they are still in my system.
Understandable. I'd like to make a psychology roll just to,
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Yeah, for sure.
Make sure that, I mean, he seems pretty like he's telling the truth, but just in case.
Excellent. Yeah, this guy's telling the truth. Generally, what's going on with him is that he seems just pretty uncomfortable to be like talking to anyone who is American. Not out of any sorts of bias, but just out of
for obvious reasons.
Obvious reasons. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your help, Otto.
I hope that I was of some help, and thank you for your kindness. I appreciate it greatly.
Not a problem. Just let us know if you need anything else. You've got at least someone friendly in your corner, if that helps at all.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Ziegler. And Kit will extend like a hand to shake.
Otto hesitantly holds for a moment, but then exhales, nods, shakes your hand, gives you a very faint smile. Old, alone man. Guten Morgen.
Morgan. All right. So Becker.
I presume we sort of walk off at this point.
Yeah, you two walk off.
Yeah.
So cutting back over to James and Mason. As you two opened the hand case in Bosco's room. Inside, simple, couple change of clothes. Nothing too fancy. There is a gun in here.
Luger?
No, not a Luger. American. It's a handgun. Pretty standard 9mm.
Taking that.
I'll give you the stats for it later. There's also a single box of bullets that has been unopened for the gun as well.
Taking that as well.
Mm-hmm.
You probably want that too. Well, other than the knife that has, some relatively new blood on it and a little mark there on the bed, I haven't really been able to see anything else in this room.
Well, I guess we got a little bit of a confrontation ahead of us. And good news. I've got his gun.
Good to know. Alrighty, well, I'd say that we might have possibly found everything that we could. Can I just do one last sweep of the room, just to see if there's anything else?
You do one last sweep to the room, and you don't find anything of interest at all. The room is actually pretty untouched. It looks like that Bosco, if he was staying in here, wasn't really doing much to unpack, just keeping it kind of as found. Out in the hallway at this point, Bertram just begins walking up the hallway. Sunil, are you still outside?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you just see Bertram walking up the hallway and just kind of gets you and kind of does that little awkward thing when you try to move out of someone's way, but you kind of both move in the same direction. Then you try to course correct, but you both do it again. He goes,
sorry, sorry, allow me.
He scoots around you a little bit.
No, it's all right. How are things going, Mr. Pandey?
Well, not much has changed since this morning. But you haven't heard anything, have you?
No, I have not. I was on my way to the dining car, feeling a little hungry despite everything. Don't let me keep you. There's a woman in the back of the train who does not seem to particularly like me, so I'm gaining some distance between the two of us.
Oh, that's a bit of a shame.
I am used to scrutiny.
Do you want me to go with you?
No, quite all right. I don't wish to be a burden.
No burden at all, but I might meet you there.
He nods.
Sunil, having remembered, oh yeah, I was supposed to do something if somebody came down the hallway, lightly knocks at the door just to let them know that somebody is in the hallway, but it's just Bertram. So
Yeah, and Bertram just like keeps walking, goes into the next car up on his way towards the dining car.
Okay,
I
that's a
imagine
knock.
the rest of us like funnel out.
Slowly, we just we're gone out of the room.
Yep.
Yeah, Jackson says, "All right, what do you think? Reconvene with Kit and Sybil back in the club lounge."
Yeah, we'll talk it over lunch.
Yeah, I think lunch is a good couple hours away, so we might as well just spend a hot moment by the bar and. Oh, sorry, something to say there, James?
If it's all the same to you, I was thinking about possibly pursuing this man.
Which man?
Bosco.
The one whose room we just
Oh, yeah.
investigated.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. Where do you think we should look?
The only lead I got would be possibly the dining car.
All right, well, after you. I'll head with you, Mr. O'Connell.
Alrighty. If the rest of y'all want to head back to the place, I don't mind. I can do this alone. But I'm gonna be heading that way.
I'll head over to Kit and Sybil. You guys go do your thing. We'll reconvene and mix our information together. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'll go meet with Kit and Sybil to let them know what we found in the room as well.
Alrighty. Let's head on over.
All right, Jackson, you're with me.
All right, well, after you, Mr. O'Connell.
He makes his way.
Great, you two head off of the dining car. James and Sunil, where you two headed again? Sorry.
Or Mason.
Sorry, Mason and Sunil. Sorry, Mason and Sunil.
We're gonna be heading towards the back, towards Kit
Great,
and
yeah.
Sybil.
So Kit and Sybil back in your car after you guys finish up with Otto. Was there anything else you wanted to do?
Oh, I want to talk to Bill.
Sure, yeah. You walk up to Bill, and he goes, sorry. Hi. Could I help you?
Hi there. Bill,
Hi.
right? From yesterday?
Yeah, Bill.
Yes.
Nice to meet. Yeah, from
Good to
lunch.
see you again. Mhm.
Miss Cordova, yeah.
Yes. My friend Kit and I were just going around checking up on folks after the incident this morning, see how everyone's doing.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. No, I'm doing all right. Thank you for checking in. Looking forward to when we reach Albuquerque and the police there can see to this affair pretty quickly. It's a terrible business, a murder. So,
It's just dreadful.
yeah, some terrible business.
Mr. Kit sort of prompts, as in like asking for a last name.
Becker, Bill Becker.
Mr. Becker.
Sybil
Kit
like me is like,
Sullivan, pleasure to meet you. I'm sure, as you heard, the conductor mentioned that I was called to look into a few things.
Yeah,
You didn't
you're some kind of doctor, yeah?
Yes, Dr. Kit Sullivan, correct.
Yeah.
Mostly general things. Kit
Yeah.
doesn't really have a medical specialty, considering he did most of his doctoring
Right,
during
yeah.
the war, but mostly general surgeon, so on. You didn't happen to hear any sort of disturbances last night?
No, sorry, so Doc, I don't follow any disturbances. My cabin is in the one right ahead of this one. I was pretty far removed from the gentleman who affected. I admit at one point I woke up in the night to the sound of the train's brakes. They're pretty loud when they screech. But I mean, I've ridden this line before, so I recall certain bends. The engineers will brake, and it's that distinctive like low screech. I'm sure you know what I'm referring to. I'm a lighter sleeper than most, but it's the only thing that comes to mind when I think about anything I heard in the night. Now that you mention it, I do recall hearing a bit of a commotion in the cabin next to mine. Not like any kind of altercation. a lot of movement, a lot of thumping around, kind of sound like somebody was wrestling or something. Well, not like wrestling, but you know what I mean when I say it's just like a lot of like stomping around or thrashing about, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's just anything. I mean, to be honest, I haven't been keeping a good record of my neighbors, but it's that the gimp, the next one next to me.
Kit's like good eye, very, very slightly narrows, but he keeps it together. Right. You wouldn't happen to have marked the time by any chance, would you?
Oh no, I mean, like, I remember looking at my watch, when I heard the train brakes screeching a little bit. It kept me up for a little bit, I was kind of in and out after that. I remember looking at my watch when the brakes screech just to figure out what time it was outside. He like kind of like recalls his memory. I think when around like maybe 4:10, somewhere about that in the morning, 4:07, 4:10, I was a little, sleep addled. But yeah, no, the brakes, heard the brakes around 4:07, 4:10, kind of in and out before then. A little bit before, kind of like thinks for a long while. Yeah, no, around, I think an hour earlier before that, maybe. I don't think I was asleep much longer than an hour before the train brakes woke me back up, but that's when I heard all the fumbling, around like maybe like 3:20, something like that. The train wasn't moving when I heard the fumbling. I remember that. I think we had like, I remember something about I think that conductor Bonnell, whatever his name was, I think it mentioned that we were gonna reach Seligman around, I don't know, 3:15. So I think the train was still stopped at that station. But I kind of faded for a little bit, and then the brakes woke me up, and then I kind of faded in and out from there on. It was a little restless, tossing and turning. I'll be the first to admit, I do like trains. I think they're actually, kind of neat. But I'm a light sleeper, and the rocking and the noises can wake me up sometimes.
Completely understand.
Just looking forward to being back in Chicago, frankly speaking.
I can imagine you from Chicago yourself.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago. I work for the local police force out there.
A cop.
Yeah,
Nice.
beat cop. I just do patrols, really. Nothing special.
My father's a cop over in New York City.
Ah, you
so-
kidding? That must be a hell of a job.
Yeah, he was a bit of a beat cop himself, but from what I remember, he's moved up a bit in the force.
Right. I mean, technically I'm off duty, but if you ever find yourself in need of a cop's opinion, I'd be willing to help out wherever I can.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, of course.
Kit like takes a sip from the soda water that he's been nursing ever since they handed it over, and sort of casually walks off a bit.
Yeah. I
Raises
want
his
to do
good
another.
eyebrow at Sybil.
I want to do another psychology check, actually.
Go for it. Yeah, for sure.
Finally, I failed one.
Finally. Do you want to spend 9 luck points to succeed? Nope. Okay, cool.
Wait, how much luck do I have? Yeah, I don't have a lot. It's not worth it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. No worries. Yeah, I mean, like, this Bill guy's kind of awkward, kind of just like not really engaging in the conversation, so you don't get like a read one way or the other on him.
That's fine. Apparently he's a dirty cop, so we know that. Because apparently he was working with the guy.
On payroll, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, Sybil and Kit, it's around this time when Mason and Sunil enter the club lounge.
Okay, well, I mean, that's something at least.
Something indeed.
Thank you. Hey. Sybil, like, waves them over.
Hey, doll, so what'd you find?
Well, We found a dirty cop for one, which is fascinating.
Oh my.
Oh.
I mean, that's what the
Keep it on the.
keep it on the down low.
Uh-huh. And this dirty cop, is he on Vito's payroll or is he in
be.
on this?
Well, that's what our new German friend overheard.
And Mason looks over. Is the German man still in the room?
Yeah, still sitting where he
No.
was. Oh, he didn't get up.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought we'd left the room, so.
Oh, no, I'm saying that they entered
Oh,
the
okay.
room when you guys were just wrapping up talking to Bill Becker.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, he's still in the back of the club lounge, but if you guys want to leave, you're welcome to.
Oh no. I just thought we had.
I mean, we can go. Mason and I's room is right basically there, so.
Yeah, just somewhere so we're not like being overheard. Basically, would be like, okay, let's.
Yeah, let's get somewhere a little more private.
We should do.
All right, yeah, you guys go. What, back to Sybil's compartment?
Yeah, there's more space in there actually.
Yeah, Sybil's.
There's 4 of us.
More space, relatively speaking, of course. For a cabin designated for 2 people. Yeah, you guys find your way over to that cabin. Sybil, you walk into your cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Cutting over for a second real quick, actually. James, you and Jackson walk over into the dining car, kind of like look around, and you don't see Bosco anywhere.
Nowhere.
Nowhere, yeah.
Is the dining hall like they're just tables and whatnot? No like kind of service nearby.
There's tables in here. I mean, like, it's not lunch yet, so mostly it's just people hanging in here, kind of just keeping to themselves. Some people will occasionally like come through and be like ask if anyone needs a drink, or if, but like food's not being serviced yet.
I think James is gonna go up to just like the most friendly looking people in the room and kind of ask, like, give them a description and ask if this guy's come through here.
Everyone uniformly that you ask, he says, no, haven't seen him.
Haven't seen him. Jackson, any ideas?
Jackson's like looking at him, he seems distracted.
What's he distracted by?
You want to ask him?
Looking over. Yeah. Jackson, what's? Come on, what's going on?
Didn't Bertram say he was going to be in here?
James looks around.
If you look around, you don't see Bertram anywhere.
Oh.
Sybil, back over in your cabin, you notice that your suitcase is missing.
Well, shit.
Well, shit. Mason is gonna double back out and go towards Kit and Mason's cabin.
Yeah, you guys run over back to Kit and Mason's cabin.
Or at least I do. I don't know if anybody follows me, but like,
yeah.
Mason makes a move.
You rush over there real quick, moving down to the cars, a couple of cars behind. Your stuff is still there. Your bags are still there. Can somebody who is in Sybil's compartment give me a spot hidden check?
Sure. I would.
Someone who isn't me should do it.
Aha!
There we go. Yeah!
Hey, Kit, you spot a small little luggage key lying on the floor, slightly underneath Sybil's bed.
Bosco's bitch ass.
Wait, what? Say it again. It cut out for me.
There's a small little luggage key, key to unlock a suitcase, lying slightly like under Sybil's bed, not far, but it's just like lying there on the floor.
Sybil, your luggage, did it have locks on it? Did you have a key?
I mean, she would have had locks on it.
Is this yours?
Is it mine?
No, this luggage key does not belong to you. You don't recognize it.
Nope. Never seen it in my life. I liked those necklaces too. This is very, very perplexing.
A woman walks by your cabin door and just says, "Oh, sorry, goodness, didn't mean to disturb you. You all right?" Looking at you, Sybil.
Not particularly. My luggage was just stolen, so not having a great time, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry. I just made a point of it because I was walking to the bathroom a couple minutes ago and I just heard a lot of rummaging around.
Sybil just immediately is like, great, good to hear it.
And the woman walks away. Back over in the dining cabin, Jackson looks over at you and says,
Should we? Maybe we should keep heading down the train and see if we.
"Want to close the engine?
I guess.
Let's do it. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. Maybe he moved this way. Yeah.
Yeah, he went down this way. Maybe he got lost. Don't want poor guy getting involved in any of this. So maybe we'll fucking find the guy on the way.
Yeah. Let's go. You two begin to like move towards the front of the train, passing through the kitchen car. And at one point, Jackson says, "Did you see, like it looks like sees one of the kitchen staff? You see anyone pass through this way?" One of the kitchen staff like looks up and the chef seems to go, yeah, no, there was a man who walked through here, had a weird looking face mask kind of thing going on." And Jackson looks at you and like nods, and you two like hurriedly run towards the front of the train.
Yeah, let's
back
go.
over in Sybil's cabin with Kit. Mason, do you come back seeing that your luggage is all still in place?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Mason makes like a good point to kind of hide it.
Cool.
He's kind of hiding his luggage now. Kind of like he's kind of like propping it up like next to his pillow, just so it kind of seems like he's just got like a bigger pillow than normal.
Totally.
To really just like hide it.
Totally. Great. And so you run back to Sybil's cabin?
Uh-huh.
Right. You run back to Sybil's cabin.
Yeah.
You're there.
Our shit's still intact. Any ideas?
Well, someone mentioned rummaging.
In the bathroom, and that's where Sybil's gone.
Rummaging from your cabin, she meant. She was going to the
from the
bathroom,
cabin.
and as she passed
Oh.
by, she heard rummaging in your cabin before on her way to the bathroom.
Oh, rude.
Huh.
Damn it. I thought I was following some rummaging.
Does Mason notice the key?
Well, I mean, I presume we would have mentioned that we found a key. Yeah.
The big guy, Bosco, had a. Where's my chapstick? There it is.
James,
can't
you
talk
look at
without-
it. You look at it. That key is too big for Bosco's suitcase. For his luggage. That's definitely a key for like a bigger lock, but that is definitely not gonna fit Bosco's.
You fucking called him James again, and that got
Sorry,
me
Mason.
jumping.
Goddamn, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. God.
That shit.
I knew what you were saying. I knew what you were saying. I was with it.
I was just like, what? What key? What?
Mason looks at the key. He kind of like up and down. This isn't Bosco's key. This is a different one entirely. Someone might just be snatching up suitcases and all the panic now.
Cutting back to Jackson and James. You two pass through the kitchen car. You pull open the door into the crew car, which opens first into the baggage room. Immediately, you see that, like, squatted down. You see, like, Bertram. Bertram is, like, on the ground in front of a suitcase. Next, and there's another suitcase beside them. The latch of which is popped open, and that suitcase is open. Sybil, would you like to explain the contents of your suitcase?
I mean, of course, there is all kinds of very nice clothes and things like that. Lots of jewelry. Most prominent is a lot of gold, some golden bangles, a necklace that's very clearly like some sort of like Peruvian, like old things. Like just the fanciest of necklaces, very heavy.
Yeah, and Bertram his back is to you two, and he is like frantically going through his pockets. He's leaning in front of a closed suitcase. He's going, shit, like searching his pockets like frantically, like he's trying to find something but can't find it.
Hey, buddy.
He like stiffens.
Thought you were going to the dining car.
I forgot something in my suitcase.
Hold on. Was he like coherent when he was cursing?
Yes.
Bitch!
The look in Split's eyes, if you people could see it.
James.
Fuck him up.
He might. Sorry. Yeah? Hey, buddy. What you doing?
I left some of my money in my suitcase. I was just looking for it, but I seem to have misplaced the key.
Yeah? I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that. Could you try talking normally again?
Like looks over his shoulder a little bit. You can see like the little bit of his like prosthetic mask. He extensively turns around.
I was saying,
He reaches in the coat, pulls out a Luger, and points at both of you and says, I was saying I would advise that neither of you move or do anything rash.
All right.
I'm going to cut back over to Sybil and Mason and Kit and Sunil.
Mason holding the key. He's like, I'm gonna see about reconvening with the fellas and asking them about this because this key doesn't match that suitcase.
Strange.
Yeah, I mean, someone might just be snatching up suitcases. So.
One last thing. If you see anyone who's like, you know, injured in some way, Vito did have bruise marks on his knuckles. Seems like he managed to punch someone out at least.
Right.
Oh,
right.
that
Shot.
reminds me actually. We found some teeth,
Teeth.
Teeth.
and they
Vito's
weren't Vito's
teeth?
teeth.
Oh.
Well, that's disgusting. I'm gonna take this key to the fellas now. I'll be just a second.
All right.
Mason's gonna make his way towards the fellas, just kind of.
Back towards the dining car?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get there, you don't see them.
Okay. Is there anybody else in the dining car?
Yeah, there's a few people around.
He's gonna ask around. Hey, did you happen to see a very, very tall, very, very, very properly shaped gentleman with a friend of ours?
Oh,
chance.
yeah, the two of
Scruffy
them
beard, very
went
beautiful.
up into the kitchen car. They looked like they were moving towards the front of the train.
Oh,
They're moving in a bit of a hurry, if you ask me.
Thank you very much. And Mason's gonna start really picking up the pace now.
You start really picking up the pace.
Feeling his pockets. If it's in a rush, it could be a bad situation. Just kind of making sure that he does in fact have his gun
Yeah.
on hand.
You run forward, back over in the baggage car.
Yeah.
James, you're standing next to Jackson as Bertram is holding a Luger at both of you. Oh. What happens now?
Well, I gotta say, I'm not really very happy about you killing my target.
If I was, frankly speaking, a piece of shit.
Yeah, but dead means less money.
Money. That is a language I speak, yes. Tell you what.
Okay.
How about you have no reason to suspect that anything else needs to happen here? I take it our friend had a bit of a bounty on his head, regardless of if he was alive and drawing breath or not. You pretend that none of this happened. I disembark in Albuquerque. You get your reward. Everybody can move on happy. Jackson says, I recognize that voice.
You recognize this guy? Friend of yours?
I wouldn't necessarily call him a friend, more of a recent acquaintance. James, this is when you open the door to the cabin, and you see that Bertram is standing there holding a
Third
fucking
time in a row.
gun. Sorry, Mason. God damn it. Sorry, Mason. You stand there you see Bertram is holding a gun at James and Jackson, and he points the gun at you and says, Mr. Allen, I would not do anything rash at all. He reaches up and he pulls off the mask, and you see the familiar face of Peter Haas. And we're gonna end there for the night.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Kidding me?
That's fucked up. That's fucked up, dude.
Oh my god! That's really fucked up!
Oh!
For quick context for the audience, because you'd be lacking it, Peter Haas is Walrus's character from the previous adventure these three had been on, and we'll address more of that next time, so don't go anywhere.
That's real fucked up.
Uh-huh. We'll see you all next week on Call of Cthulhu, Path of Perdition. Until next time.